Thank you very much. Everybody, please be seated. So to begin this evening's event, we acknowledge that this event is taking place on traditional Wolastoqey territory. The territory of the Wolastoqey people is recognized in the peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs through our city is known as the Wolastoq, along which live the Wolastoqey people, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 State of the City Address. My name is Krista Ross. I'm CEO at the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to be your MC for this evening. And I want to say a special thank you to Andy Rogers, who did a lovely job piping the head table in this evening. And also recognize he's actually Mayor Rogers' brother, so thank you very much. Makes it a special night. And now I would like to invite Sagam Alan Polchis and Elder Dr. Maggie Paul to the podium to bring greetings. Chief Polchis is also accompanied this evening by Sedunskis band manager Sarah Rose. And you may have noticed in your program, it did mention that Eldima Blossomwis was joining us this evening. She wasn't able to come, but we are happy to have Maggie Paul with us this evening. And as they're coming up, I have to run to my seat for 2 seconds. Sit down and let you do your thing.
Debate here. Bodman Chichako Pechola Dinya Lamigom. Chit Pediud Magoyati Akilon. Bodman Jibeno Good Pejon. Saunasnik, Skiosnik, Latagwasnik, Pegioladina, you'd Oldaka Waganetli Bamiag. I've asked the spirits and all of the ancestors that come from the east, the south, the west, and the north to be here to help celebrate the ceremony, what's going on here. I really do want them to be here. That's why Salgam said, go ahead. So he's going to take over, and then I'll sing the song after, and everybody's going to sing with me.
Okay. Willie and Maggie, Dr. Elder Maggie Paul, ladies and gentlemen. It's always an honor to be in your company, and of course to hear your wisdom, and of course we're going to hear her songs here very shortly. I want to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the unceded, unsurrendered Wolastoqey territory. I want to say good evening to her worship. Thank you very much for the invitation to invite, of course, the elder, myself, and members of my community to this event tonight. As we gather on the banks of the Wolastoq this evening, as Krista alluded to, you know, it's a special time of year for us. We are on the brink of, I can smell it, summer in the air. Summer's in the air. It may not seem like a little wet, but you know, we'd rather have wet than forest fires, right? But let's be optimistic. This is going to be a great summer for all of us here in our territory. It's going to be a time that we're going to reflect and spend some time with our families because of all the work that we've been doing all year long. And speaking about work, you know, this event and what the city is doing, it's all about partnership. It's about coming together and doing what is good for our city, for our territory, for our homeland. Our homeland is Sedunces, right across the beautiful river of the Woolastook. And of course, you know, we communicate with the great folks at the city of Fredericton. I see Sarah out there. Nice to see you, Sarah. And you know, they're doing a great job. And the work that we do as Frederictonians or as Indigenous people, you know, it's all about allyship. We're going to be able to come together and be able to stress the causes that are important to our people, because it's all of us that, of course, are going to move files. If we're against each other, it's not going to work for the next generation. We have to collectively come together, and this is why we build the partnership with the City of Fredericton, the mayor and her council members, because it's very important for our members at Sedunces to, of course, go on that path of healing and that journey for our children and for the next generation. We create safe spaces. We want to create safe spaces for, of course, Frederictonians here in our city. You know, we want to live in a safe city. You know, we're so proud of Fredericton. Everywhere I go, I talk about Fredericton and Sedunces. And you know, Fredericton is so gifted to have an Indigenous community along the banks and to share that space. And we share it with all of you. I just want to congratulate all of you in the room, because I know every single one of you brings something to the table. You bring knowledge. You bring expertise, and you bring a voice. You bring a voice to that table so that we can collectively have that, so we make a bright future for all of our children and take care of all of our elders in our respective communities. And I'm happy to stand here in front of you as the leader of my community, and that's my commitment to my people and to, of course, the city of Fredericton. We come in peace and friendship, and that's, of course, what we come to, and respectively, you know, that's where we need to go and hold on to that. Crafting the city of Fredericton, Mayor. Crafting the city of Fredericton was your theme last year. I'm excited to hear about what's going to go on tonight, but crafting that together. It's like weaving a basket, how we do it, and that's how we come all together to ensure that our language is there, whether it's Francophone, Anglophone, Indigenous, newcomers language. You know, the language is our identity, and that's, of course, we want to be able to hang on to that. So with that being said, on behalf of the citizens and my band council, I want to say Chiwaliwin for having us here today. I want to personally invite you all to our beautiful powwow that is happening this weekend. It happens to be one of the largest cultural events that we hold here in Sedunces. We've got guests coming from the United States. We've got guests coming from Ontario, Quebec, all over Atlantic Canada. It is a family-friendly, free event. Come join us. The grand entry is on Saturday and, of course, on Sunday. And we have a big tent, so we don't have to worry about your hair being all fuzzy from the rain. So with that being said, I leave you in love and harmony and moving forward. I just want to say to Mayor Kate and to the council, you're doing a really good job. So we'll leave it.
This is an easy song.
Come up here.
I'll sing it in the language. I want you to sing it with me after, okay? Away, ah, hey, ah, away, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, away, ah, hey, ah, away, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, away, ah, hey, ah, away, ah, hey, ah, away, ah, hey, away, away, ah, hey, Chigigawasan skit kamik nagapsi teknichanak milanya yod psidegek away 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 Chigigawasan skit kamik nagapsi teknichanak milanya yod psiudegek away 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 Now this is what I want. This is what I want you to sing. All my people, this is for you. I want to hear it. All my people, this is for you. All my people, this is for you. Mother Earth and all her children, I give away is what I give to you. Away, 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 all my children, this is for you. All my children, this is for you. Mother Earth and all her children, I give away is what I give to you. Away, away, away,
Waliwan, Segampolchis, Waliwan, Elder Dr. Maggie Paul, that was beautiful, and it's a wonderful way to start an event. And also, we all know that this is National Indigenous Peoples History Month, and we're all looking forward to events and activities at the powwow, and also on June 21st, National Indigenous Peoples Day, so that's coming up as well. I'd now like to invite Jenny Paul to come to the stage, and she will be singing O Canada, and I would ask if you would please stand if you are able, and stand for the singing of O Canada. Jenny.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command, woolly Tahaswagin, no me tunen, Alice Gwiak, Lawton Gwasan Wagin, Nagagudagang, de plubria espoir, et ta valeur de foi trempée protégera nos foyers et nos doigts. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
So once again, I'm delighted to welcome everybody to the 2023 State of the City Address. This is a really important event in the Chamber's calendar. It's an opportunity for all of you, our members, and the community to be informed about the challenges, the successes, and all the things that are happening in our municipality, and as well what we can expect in the coming year. So this is the third State of the City Address for Mayor Kate Rogers. And so we're certainly looking forward this evening to learning about the goals that she and her council, along with their great team of city employees, have put in place for the coming year and beyond. So we do have many members of the City Council and senior staff in attendance, and we thank each of them for attending, along with a number of other dignitaries that are with us this evening. So at this time, I'm going to introduce our head table guests, and I would ask you to hold your applause until they've all been introduced. We have Mayor Kate Rogers, her husband, Michael Wolf, her daughters. Well, one of her daughters is here, one is coming, so I'm going to say them both, Eliza and Iris Wolf. Mayor Rogers' mother, Elizabeth Rogers, her brother, and of course our piper for the evening, Andy Rogers, her mother-in-law, Jackie Wolf-Ketty. We also have Mitchell Goodine, who's also known as Amor Love. We have the chief of St. Mary's First Nation, Sagam Allen Polchis Jr. We have Jill Stairs, who's president of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, and she's also a partner at Day Kelly and Associates, and she's my boss for a few more days until our annual meeting next week. From our event's platinum sponsor, we have Ryan Feener, who is with Hotspot Parking. And as I said, I would ask you to hold your applause till the end. And so the last person at the head table is myself, Krista Ross, CEO of Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. You see what I did there? Sorry, I couldn't resist. Ladies and gentlemen, your head table, and thank you very much for being at our head table this evening. I'd also like to recognize that we have a number of other distinguished guests in attendance this evening. We have David Kuhn, who is MLA for Fredericton South and leader of the Green Party of New Brunswick. There's David. We have Susan Holt, leader of the official opposition, MLA for Bathurst East, Nipissaquit, St. Isidore, and leader of the New Brunswick Liberal Party. Susan, where are you? There's Susan. And then I'm going to list off the city councillors that we have in attendance this evening. We have Deputy Mayor Greg Erickson, who's the councillor for Ward 8. We have Councillor Margot Shepherd for Ward 1, Councillor Mark Peters for Ward 2. We have Councillor Bruce Grandy, Ward 3, Councillor Jocelyn Pike for Ward 4. I believe we have Councillor Stephen Hicks, Ward 5, Councillor Eric McGarity, Ward 6, Councillor Kevin Dara, Ward 7, Councillor Cassandra LeBlanc for Ward 10, Councillor Jason Lejeune, Ward 11, Councillor Henry Maillet for Ward 12, And I want to say that Councillor Ruth Breen from Ward 9 really wanted to be here this evening, but unfortunately she was not able to attend, and she sends her regrets. We also have from the Village of New Maryland, Mayor Judy Wilson-Shee, Councillors Alex Scholten and Councillor Mike Pope. Where are you? Thank you for coming this evening. And there will be a few more guests I'm going to recognize a little later in the program, but in the meantime, if I have missed any of our elected officials who've joined us this evening, please do accept my sincere apologies. On behalf of the Chamber, I really want to acknowledge the generosity of some very special Chamber members who are our sponsors this evening. Many of them are here with us tonight, and so I want to express thanks for their continued support to our Chamber, to our community. You see their names and logos in your program. You see them on the screen this evening. You see them in our social media, and I hope you'll take a moment and thank them if you know them or if you meet them, and thank them for supporting events like this so we're able to host them. So our platinum sponsor is Hotspot Parking. Thank you very much. We're also delighted to have gold sponsors Encore and McGuinness Cooper. Thank you very much. Our silver sponsors, who are Fredericton International Airport, Gauguin Architecture, and Ignite Fredericton. Thank you. We have our broadcast sponsor, Rogers TV&B, so I'll wave at the camera while I say their name. I wonder if that'll make it in. And finally, our bronze sponsors, Advocate Printing, CPA New Brunswick, Kears Marketing Group, Liberty Utilities, and Rob Blanchard Photography. So thank you very much to our bronze sponsors as well. So at this time, I want to point out a very special table in the room over here. This is the City of Fredericton's past mayor's table, and I'd like to give a big thank you to the Real Estate Board of the Fredericton area because they sponsored this table this evening. And tonight, we're very fortunate to have three past mayors with us. We have past Mayor Bud Bird, we have past Mayor Walter Brown, and past Mayor Sandy DiGiacinto. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Also at that table, we're delighted to introduce from the Real Estate Board of Fredericton, Michelle Morris, who's the president, Michelle Roy, the past president, Bradley McDonald, secretary treasurer, Debbie Krause, who's a director, and Sharon Watts, who's the executive director. So thank you for your sponsorship. And it's now my great pleasure to call upon our gold sponsor, McGuinness Cooper. Mike Melvin is here to say a few words on behalf of the firm. Mike.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Mike Melvin, and I'm a corporate commercial partner with McInnes Cooper, one of Atlantic Canada's leading law firms. I'm also excited to be the incoming, and I emphasize incoming, president of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, a role I expect to move into next week at the Chamber's annual general meeting. McInnes Cooper is honored to be a gold sponsor of this year's State of the City address. As I think we're all aware, Fredericton is growing rapidly and outpacing many Canadian cities. Fredericton businesses are capitalizing on new opportunities while at the same time navigating new challenges. A short 3 years ago, no one could have anticipated that a wave of eastward migration would bring an economic boom to our region while at the same time overheating our real estate market. No one could have predicted the widespread supply chain disruptions, major increases in construction and shipping costs, labor shortages, or the widespread adoption of remote or hybrid work, among other changes. However, businesses in Fredericton and elsewhere are busy adapting to these new realities. McInnes Cooper has been proud to assist our private and public sector clients in Fredericton to navigate these challenges and to seize the opportunities of the last several years. Our lawyers in Fredericton and throughout Atlantic Canada continue to provide expert advice to clients on legal matters ranging from employment and immigration issues to real estate transactions, construction projects, commercial contracts, mergers and acquisitions, technology and intellectual property, and many other areas of law. We have a vested interest in the success of Fredericton businesses. The owners of these businesses are our friends, our neighbors, and our family members. And in a very tangible way, their success is our success. We relish the opportunity to continue to grow with our clients here in Fredericton as they find success locally, regionally, and nationally. We're excited to be here tonight with all of you to hear from special guests, including Her Worship, Kate Rogers, Mayor of Fredericton, about the many impactful developments and initiatives that are happening in our city. We hope everyone enjoys the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mike. Thank you so much to McGuinness Cooper for being a gold sponsor here this evening. And of course, as Mike mentioned, as of next week, he will be the president of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce as of June 22nd. So although earlier I mentioned Jill's my boss, next up is Mike. Mike's my new boss. Yay, Mike. This will be my last time at the podium this evening because the evening is going to flow with our speakers and other people finishing the event. So I want to say thanks to all of you again for coming this evening. And I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of our amazing sponsors. Of course, to Mayor Kate for a special night tonight and bringing the State of the City address. And at this time, it's my great pleasure to introduce our platinum sponsor. So Hotspot Parking is our platinum sponsor, and tonight we have with us Ryan Feener, who is going to bring some remarks, and he's also going to introduce our guest of honor, Mayor Kate Rogers.
Thank you, Krista, and thank you everyone who has helped put this fantastic event together. Hello, folks. My name is Ryan Feener, and someone has made the unfortunate decision of giving me a microphone. I'm kidding, of course. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this event and a part of this city. A little bit about me. I grew up in a small town called Gander, in a crazy little rock called Newfoundland. And when I graduated school, all of my teachers and counselors came to me and they asked, "My Lord, thunder and Jesus, Ryan, I can't believe you made it this far. Now tell me, buddy, where do you think you're going next?" Please allow me to translate for any of those who do not speak Newfoundlander. Congratulations, Ryan. Where do you plan to go next? Because that was the flow of the city. You graduated, and then you left for better opportunities. And that's what I did. I spent many years traveling to every province in this beautiful, beautiful country. So I would like you all to take a minute to believe me when I tell you that Fredericton is a marvelous city that's on this beautiful land. When I first moved to Fredericton, I had a high school diploma and many years of road construction, and I knew that wasn't the right path. Thankfully, this city strives on education and helping its people achieve their aspirations. And in 2 short years, I went from a part-time delivery driver to a software developer in an up-and-coming startup company. That's what this city is. Fredericton is a place that cherishes its people, respects its First Nations, and strives to help everyone grow together. From its fantastic arts and culture experiences, to the lively entertainment that we have downtown, to our parks and our gardens, it's very clear that this city cares. In 2021, I took part in electing Fredericton's first female mayor, and that was the first time I learned about a councillor with a master's in political science, a person who served as chair of the Community Services Committee and the Arts and Culture Committee, who served as chair for the city's Affordable Housing Committee and the Advisory Committee for the Arts and Culture. She also chaired as Governance and Civic Engagement Committee and serves as the city's representative for RSC 11. A person who is also council representative for the Planning Advisory Committee and the Preservation Review Board. A woman with so much talent and experience under her belt that she needs to wear MC Hammer's parachute pants just to hold it all in. The more I learned about Mayor Kate Rogers, the more I realized she was the right person for the position. Robert Fredericton once said, "Problems become opportunities when the right people come together." Mayor Kate Rogers has not only stood up and proven that she's the right person, but she strives to put the right people in the right places so that problems can become opportunities. And it's because of all that that a part-time delivery driver had the chance to return to college, had the chance to get a degree, land a job in a booming tech industry, and get the opportunity to stand before you today without having to move away. So I want to thank everyone in this room tonight. I want to thank you all in advance for going out there and helping make this city bigger and better every single day, and for turning problems into opportunities. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce Her Worship, Mayor Kate Rogers, to the podium for the State of the City Address. Mayor Kate Rogers.
What a lovely introduction. Thank you so much, Ryan. And a part of me feels like saying, and there you go. This is what makes Fredericton so wonderful. But I have lots more to say than just that. And I'm so thrilled to look out onto such a lovely audience and to share my thoughts and share all of our dreams and goals and aspirations with you tonight. So, hello, bonjour, quoi. I have to say, as we were singing earlier, as Maggie was singing, and as I sang along with her, which I now always do, I thought, what a wonderful night. I get to do my two favorite things. I get to sing, and I get to talk about city government. Maybe a weird combo, but for me it works, and tonight is that night. Today marks an anniversary of sorts for me and for all of my council colleagues. It was 2 years ago, plus one day, that council was sworn in and that I officially became mayor. And it has been my honor to serve this city these past 2 years. This is my third State of the City address, and the theme for all three speeches has been the same. It's been related to the fact that we are growing. We are a growing city. And to that I say, what a great time to be the mayor. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm having fun. It's good, it's good. In 2021, I talked about growing a city with care. In 2022, I spoke about a city well-crafted, as Sagam Poltzes mentioned. And this evening, I will speak about smart growth and great spaces. But before I proceed, I want to thank all of you for attending. And I want to thank you for all that you do for our city. I know that you are as committed to Fredericton's success as I am, and that you have played a part in and that you are invested in the outcome. A special thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for giving me the opportunity to speak, and also a special thanks to Hotspot, and to all, yes, yay, Hotspot, and to all of the sponsors who made this evening possible. Thank you. In addition, I wish to recognize, the special guests have already been acknowledged, but I just can't not mention them again. I'm sorry. So, Susan, thank you for being here, leader of the opposition party. Thank you so much for being here, Susan. Also, David, thank you for being here, leader of the Green Party, our MLA for Fredericton South. Sagam Poltzes, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Elder, Maggie, thank you for being here. We have Judy, Mayor Judy from New Maryland is here with some of her colleagues. Thank you. Thank you especially to former mayors, to Walter and to Sandy and to Bud. I'm honored that you're here this evening. You have sat through many, many speeches, and the fact that you're willing to come again and listen to another mayor speak, I'm very honored. Thank you very much. And I want to thank my council colleagues. I'm blessed with a very wonderful council, and I say that. And to me, the best part of our council is we don't always agree. We have very differing opinions and differing views, and we share them very respectfully. And I think as a result, we're making some really great decisions. But because we don't always agree, it's very clear that as we make these decisions, there's lots of back and forth. We're talking about different things, sharing different views. And so I want to thank all of them for being here tonight. Councillor Mark Peters, Margot Shepherd, Bruce Grandy, Jocelyn Pike, Eric McGarity, Kevin Dara. We have Deputy Mayor Greg Erickson, Cassandra LeBlanc, Jason Lejeune, and Henri Mallet. My friends and colleagues, thank you for being here. And we have lots of city staff, as was mentioned, and I'm not going to mention all their names, but I will mention my CAO, Steve Hart, who helps keep the machine going with all these great people who are here, so thank you. And finally, I'm going to say a special thanks to those who are joining me at the head table. Look at this head table. Look at them. So first of all, we have the folks from the Chamber, Krista and Jill, thank you. Ryan from Hotspot, thank you. I have my family, my wonderful family. I always say I have 2 daughters, 2 mums, and a hubby. They're all here, and it's always special when we can be in a room together. And shockingly, when you have 20-some-year-old kids, that's kind of hard, so thank you. My friend, Sagam Pulchis, thank you for being here. And also, I brought along this evening Amor Love. And yes, which to me, I am honored that Amor Love is here in the room with us. And I want to tell this story a bit. So I first met Amor Love as Mitchell Goodine won a Community Recognition Award at the City of Fredericton. We gave out Community Recognition Awards a few weeks back. And Mitchell won the award for all of the incredible work that Amor Love, aka Amor Love, is doing in the community and doing with the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. It's really critical work. It's very critical work. And we met the day of the recognition awards and we hit it off right away. I really enjoyed our conversation. So when a seat was available at my head table, I was delighted to extend the invitation and thrilled when they accepted. So thank you so much. Okay, so now on to the big show. Fredericton is growing. And that's not just a bold statement, that is a fact. As of July 1st, 2022, our population had increased to 66,879 people. That was almost 2,000 more residents than in the previous 12 months. And then, on January 1st, 2023, Fredericton grew by an estimated 4,300 residents due to local governance reform, making our population over 71,000 residents. For a kid who grew up with like a Fredericton that was 45,000 people forever, that's a lot of people. It's not just that our city is growing, our capital region is also growing. And as of July 1st, 2022, the population of Fredericton region was 116,159 people, up from 3,731 from 12 months before. So that's for New Brunswick, that's a lot of people. And many people are asking, where did this growth come from? Well, an estimated 1,300 immigrants moved to the Fredericton region from outside of Canada from July 1st, 2021 to 2022. And in addition, 1,038 of the region's new residents came from another province somewhere in Canada. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing immigration and we're seeing people move here from within Canada. And along with the population growth, we are experiencing record development because that's what happens. You grow, you have to build stuff to accommodate that growth. In 2022, the City of Fredericton recorded over $257 million, that's over $250 million in construction activity, and that's up $70 million from the year before. Residential development totaled $167 million of that growth, while commercial, government, and institutional construction totaled $90 million. Supporting Fredericton's rapidly growing construction, we've needed a lot of housing. So a new record again was established with 938 new housing units being permitted for construction just last year. And of those units, then people always say, but what about houses? Like we see all these apartment buildings going up. Well, 767 of the units were new apartment and townhouse units, much needed. 171 were single family units. And of all of the housing, 25% of the overall housing is what is considered affordable based on the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation definition related to income. But even with that, we know that the demand for deeply affordable housing is ongoing and it is increasing. So for city planners and for elected officials, because we're kind of weird, what is exciting about all of these stats is that we saw this growth coming. And because we saw it coming, we were able to respond by putting the right plans and the right policies in place. This growth was identified during the Imagine Fredericton community-based process, which informed the creation of a growth strategy and a new municipal plan for Fredericton. So not only are we experiencing growth, we're experiencing smart growth because we have planned for it. The growth strategy forecasts Fredericton will grow to more than 90,000 residents by 2041. So the strategy and the plan has smartly set out where and how the city will accommodate that growth over the next 25 years. So while growth is happening all over the city, we're seeing it every place, the majority of the growth is happening in the growth nodes that we identified in our plans, with more than 3/4 of the residential development being built in one of the city's designated growth areas. And it's good news, as it allows us to take advantage of existing municipal assets. We've identified these areas, we've said this is where it's being built because this is where it's smart to build. We already have the assets here, like water and sewer, roads, green spaces, and it means that we can then focus on investments that will make these areas into complete communities with parks, green spaces, great spaces. Growth is happening at a fast pace, and we are working to stay ahead of that tempo. So for the business community, I know that momentum of this sort is also very good news. It provides more workers, and it creates more customers. I'll say that while Fredericton is in an enviable position when it comes to growth, along with all of the opportunities do come challenges. And managing through these pain points is key. We're working very hard as a council, I can assure you, and we're working hard as a city, and we're working hard as a community to find a balance on both fronts. How is it that we can mitigate the challenges that come with opportunity? So just like businesses and households, inflation has had a significant impact on the cost of delivering municipal services. And I hate to break it to you folks, but I think we're going to continue seeing it into 2023 and as the year continues. And yes, our tax revenue grew significantly this past year, allowing us to mitigate inflation and to enhance services and address some of the pressures associated with a growing city. We are still very conscious of the ability of our residents and local businesses to pay tax. 93% of our residents benefited from a tax rate decrease or a tax rate freeze in the 2023 budget, but I am very aware that that is a tax rate decrease. It's not a decrease on your tax bill. Because Fredericton's hot housing market, thanks to our real estate folks over here, in part, thanks to our hot housing market, the assessments have stayed up, and that definitely has affected everyone's bottom line. Along with the inflationary pressures, there come shortages in the labor force, and we feel very fortunate at the City of Fredericton that we have not really been impacted, but we know that it's very much impacted the business community. We also all know that housing affordability remains a challenge in our community and across the country. Look, I think housing affordability is affecting everyone. If it's not affecting you personally, it's affecting a family member, it's affecting a neighbor, it's affecting an employee or someone that you know. Someone that you know is finding it hard to cover the cost of housing right now. So the city created its first affordable housing strategy in 2022, and it aimed at supporting the creation of more affordable housing of various types, and that's what's key. We need different types of housing in our community. And then this was followed by a one-year implementation plan for 2023. We just had the half-year update. I think it was just last week at our Economic Vitality Committee meeting. We had a half-year update on the plan, and we're on track for fulfilling our initial goals. But nevertheless, we all know more affordable housing is much needed, and it's the essential. It's essential if we then want to get to the deeply affordable housing, which is even trickier to develop, but even more needed. And we cannot solve this issue alone, but we can be a partner, and we want to be a really meaningful partner. We're hiring our housing specialists. Stay tuned. I think we'll be announcing a name soon. And we want to partner with the community, developers, and provincial and federal governments. We can also continue on this theme of being smart and seize opportunities. And really, the best example of the best opportunity that is in front of us is the implementation of the NBX Secondary Municipal Plan. I'm really pleased. We have folks from the MBX board and here with us tonight. Really glad that you're able to be here with us because we are going to be working together to see the fulfillment of that plan. And it's really important that we develop that piece of property because first off, it calls for a minimum of 20% of residential units that will be developed will be affordable. But most especially, it's right in the middle of our city. That wonderful piece of land is in the middle of the city, close to services, close to amenities, and we know that that is how we need to develop in this city. And why? Because we're a smart city. So when it comes to helping people who are unhoused, we continue to partner with our community agencies as well as the provincial government departments to provide support to the most vulnerable in our city. Fredericton Police continue to work collaboratively with a multidisciplinary group of caring and committed individuals to respond with the right services at the right time and in the right place. There's also a huge concern amongst all of our residents about city, with a growing city comes the challenge with accessing primary health care. We have over 18,000 people in the Fredericton region without access to a primary health caregiver. It's the highest number of people without access, highest number in the province. So the city is now part of a steering committee and project team made up of doctors, residents, Horizon staff, and knowledgeable community partners, including your very own, Chamber's very own Krista Ross. And we're busy working to attract more physicians to our wonderful city and our region. We also have the impacts of climate change. We're feeling it, and boy, if anybody tried to deny that before, the fires we've been seeing, no more closing our eyes to it. And it's demanding a higher level of environmental stewardship from all levels of government. This year, Fredericton Council declared a state of climate emergency to emphasize that issue. And while significant change in these files must be driven by federal and provincial policy, there are things that we can do at the municipal level, and we will continue to view projects and initiatives through an environmental lens, make changes to our building fleet, and find innovative ways. We need to find innovative ways to motivate people in our community to be more environmentally sustainable. Safety is another concern that we hear about regularly from our constituents, and it's with good reason. Crime is on the rise, another challenge that comes with a growing city. But in response to the public concerns, the Fredericton Police Force, and we have Chief Martin Gaudette here with us this evening, the police force held 2 community open houses back in October. And I don't know if any of you had a chance to attend. I did. And it was really interesting to hear from residents. People attending those houses clearly expressed concern about traffic, drugs, trail safety, living rough, graffiti, vandalism, and theft. And the police are working hard to deal with activities in our community to help mitigate some of that. And 2 of these initiatives have been launched that I really want to point to. One is the community safety cameras. And these community safety cameras are intended to help make residents feel safe, but also to help protect businesses from nuisance and vandalism and mischief. The second is the Community Safety Services Unit, and these uniformed personnel are on the streets. They're on the trails. I'm sure some of you have seen them. They're providing public education about proper trail etiquette. They're responding to calls, and they're on the lookout for vandalism and graffiti. So while there are challenges, felt a need to acknowledge there's nothing worse than having someone who's up here who's like completely not aware of what's going on, very aware of what's going on, wanted to make it clear. But yes, there are challenges, but we will not be discouraged. Fredericton is rising to those challenges. We are being smart in our response. And most especially, we are embracing all the opportunities that come along with growth. Because we are a smart city, we are being smart in our response. And we are balancing the pressures of growth with lots of great offerings and amenities. Jane Jacobs, so now I'm going to get a little nerdy. Jane Jacobs is an urbanist. She's an urbanist and an activist whose writings championed a fresh, community-based approach to city building. She popularized the concept of space making. The Project for Public Spaces says, and I quote, great public spaces are those places where celebrations are held, social and economic exchanges occur, friends run into each other, and cultures mix. They are accessible, active, comfortable, and sociable. The very aspects, ironically, that are covered in our own municipal plan. We talked about that stuff in our municipal plan. And I think this resonates with me because to me it's about what all Fredericton is. This idea we create these great spaces, and in these great spaces we're going to bump into each other. We're going to see each other. We're going to collide and mix. We're going to be a community, a city that is a community. For me, space making is a process centered on people and their needs, aspirations, desires, and visions. It's about creating physical spaces for people. And as a municipality, it is our role to create the right conditions to make these types of spaces happen. With that in mind, I'd like to point to our community inclusion efforts. Because when I was thinking about how we create these great spaces and how we make sure that they're welcoming for everyone, I thought, what's going to help us do that? It's all this great community inclusion work that we're doing. And the community inclusion work is designed to, so the city can examine, develop, implement inclusive practices and policies and programs. Since that work began in 2021, we've seen the establishment of an anti-racism task force and a social inclusion committee. As a signatory of UNESCO's Coalition of Inclusive Municipalities, we are dedicated to making sure our public spaces are designed for everyone, and that everyone feels included in those spaces and feels shielded from prejudice. Council created the Office of Community Inclusion to ensure that we are inclusive in all that we do. As we maintain existing public spaces and as we build new ones, we need to guarantee that these spaces are meaningful and safe, but most of all, that they're fun for all. As part of this work, we continue to interact with Fredericton's local immigration partnership and our partners at the Multicultural Association of Fredericton to better serve newcomers. And in the spirit of the treaties that call for a relationship of mutual respect, peace, and friendship between equal nations, the relationship between St. Mary's First Nation Sudunksix and the city of Fredericton continues to grow and to strengthen. Yeah. That relationship is very important to us. Over the past year alone, we were gifted and we now permanently display the Sudunksix flag in our council chamber at Fredericton City Hall. And while I know there's always that's just a symbol, well, that symbol is strong and it represents something very real. Additionally, we've provided facilities in Clarny Lake Park to support Gakieman, the Wolastoqey Language School, and the Wolastoqey flag has been permanently raised outside City Hall, at the Grant Harvey Centre, and Willie O'Ree Place. Now, as I speak of inclusion, it makes me think of something else. This past weekend, I was at the Atlantic Mayors Congress. And when we were there, all of the mayors, we were all saying how our communities own our hearts. And it's true, Fredericton has my heart. And my heart is aching a little bit right now because I know that there are people in this community who are struggling, who are feeling vulnerable and anxious and unsafe. The 2S LGBTQIA+ community is hurting right now. And I want everyone in that community to know that in Fredericton, you are welcome, you are included, you are celebrated, you are protected, and most especially, you are loved. So, as I look around Fredericton, I know that heritage is something that's really important to a lot of us, not just heritage nerds. I think, whether you know it or not, heritage is it's an important component of great spaces in our city, and I think we all value it, whether we know it or not. Because, do you know how I know it? Because I look around and I see people want to be in these spaces because these spaces, they tell a story. They have meaning. And we need to make certain that the great spaces that we build today reflect where we are at this moment in time. And that we preserve and hold dear the heritage buildings and the history that brought us to this point. So to honor the built and cultural heritage of Fredericton, Council knew it was timely to undertake a heritage program and services review. The report from this review was just received a couple of weeks ago, but it speaks to our natural and human history. It recognizes that heritage means different things to different people, and it references 3 broad heritage conservation tools that are available to our city, and that includes bylaws and regulations, incentives, and awareness building. We need various recommendations have been made, and we need to understand them further, consider them further, and we will with our community partners and with our residents. But I think it's important to highlight this work because as we look at creating these great spaces, we have to think, what is the story that we want to tell? An important part of our heritage is the historic Garrison District. As this 2-block area in downtown Fredericton continues to evolve into a hub of activity for events and special gatherings, we need to pay attention to how it converses and interacts with some of the oldest buildings in our city. And I know that's kind of how it converses. I learned that buildings talk to each other. My architect friends have told me over the years, buildings should talk to each other, so we have to be mindful of that. So when I think of our downtown and I think of the Garrison District and I think of all of those heritage buildings and how they work together, I was then very excited at the announcement that was made most recently by the UNB Law School. UNB Law School is going to move into the old Justice Building. I did not break this news. I don't want to be the breaker of news and the teller of secrets. I think President Paul Musrell might be here, and if he is, I didn't tell your secret. It was in a press release, but it didn't get enough attention. They're moving into UNB, to the Justice Building, and it's going to be awesome. It's a real opportunity to breathe new life into a significant heritage building, which and it will still maintain the character of the Garrison District. It will still maintain that beautiful character that it has, and we are so excited about the potential of this development. Think about it, everyone. All of these law students and law professors, they're all going to be walking the streets of downtown, going to businesses, going out for lunch, using stores. It's just going to be amazing what's going to happen. And I won't say any more because it really is UNB's story to tell, but for our Heritage District, I'm very excited. The Project for Public Spaces says that public spaces are often the front porches of our public institutions. I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. Public spaces are like our front porches. Let's think about what we do in our front porches. Well, there is no better front porch in Fredericton than Officers Square. As we all know, that space had become overloved, and it was in much need of special attention and care. Located in the heart of our downtown, it has most often been associated with the history of the British military. But along the way, and particularly through the work we're doing there now, we have learned more about the Indigenous and the Acadian history of this space. The good news is that while much has already been done, the final push is underway to finish this project. Work on the Great Lawn and ice skating track is now underway. A new stage is going to follow. This September, we're going to see the return of the Mojo Tent as part of Harvest Music Festival. Mojo Tent's back. And in January, people will once again be able to skate in the square. As a city whose motto is Noble Daughter of the Forest, we're proud of our trees. Yes, look at them all. There's a lot of trees. We were honored to be named Forest Capital of Canada in 2023. I know, that was a big deal. Think of all the places they could go in Canada and name them the Forest Capital. They picked Fredericton. It really, and I think that's because it's a recognition of the importance of trees to our city and to our region. Fredericton has an enviable tree canopy of over 60%, and we are currently planting 500 new trees a year. And for great spaces, that's good news, because we know how important the dappled sunlight and shade provided by these trees, how important it is to the ambiance of great spaces that we are creating, in addition to how important it is to our environment. Fredericton is blessed with beautiful parks. I spend a lot of my time in those parks. I really enjoy going. That's where I go for peace. I head to one of the parks. And I can tell you, they are wonderful gathering spaces. I witness it all the time. And it's always heartening to see the diversity of our city coming together, gathering in these spaces for activity, or to share a meal, or to share a celebration. Parks, big and small, are an example of the balancing act that our city is currently carrying out. What we have learned and what we are acting on is that as we densify our housing in the growth areas and in the urban core, it is essential that we counter this densification with green spaces. It's one of the reasons that as a smart city, we have developed plans and to guide our work in establishing precious spaces. And, you know, if we are asking, I guess I look at it this way, if we're going to ask people to live in dense environments, we better enhance the public realm and give people lots of green spaces. Yeah. We're all going to have to grow accustomed to more high-rises, to, you know, this densification that comes with multi-units and with townhouses. It's a new look for Fredericton. And as such, we know people may be willing to move into for all the conveniences that might come with that kind of lifestyle. We are Frederictonians, and we do love our green spaces. And the city of Fredericton is very aware that we need to ensure that we continue to provide those spaces. Also, when it comes to recreation, we have, I think of the special draw that we have in recreation, and it really is quite unique because we have this contrasting urban and rural leisure offerings. You know, when we think of our region and all the different kinds of things you can do in our region, you can do urban things, and you can do rural type things, and you can do them all in one day. How cool is it that you can fish along the Nashwauk in the morning, ride on the trails in the afternoon, hit a craft brewery for a beverage, and be home in time to shower and then head out for dinner and a show in the evening? That's all in one day. Only in Fredericton, my friends, this is where we can do that. And it's really special that we can do that. And that's why I think a lot of us are here. It's why Ryan stayed. It's why a lot of us are here. We get to dress up and do fancy things like this, and tomorrow we can schlep it out and go walk in the trail, and the next day we can wear whatever we want and head out to the market. Only in Fredericton can you do something that special. And moving forward, as we continue to work, we're going to be working on a recreation plan. We're going to be considering all of those things. And we're also going to be considering new kinds of recreational offerings, new kinds of recreational spaces for people of all ages and backgrounds. I think that's why you see the cricket game playing up there, right? It's a relatively new sport that's been brought to new to us sport that's been brought to our city. And we're really going to maximize and capitalize on that in this new recreation plan. Think about all those recreation offerings and how it is that we can offer them to our citizens. As I stand here on this stage at the Fredericton Convention Center, I can't help but remember how the development of this facility and of the parking garage and of Chancery Place, I'm pointing, I don't even know what direction I'm in, but this whole area, it was described as transformative for our city, and it was. And through smart growth, we're about to transform another area in our downtown into a really great space. Earlier this week, Council approved the final design and funding model for the new Performing Arts Centre at the corner of King and Regent Streets. I know. Yes. Thank you. I love your response, because you know what? It is excellent news. It's wonderful news for our city. And I can't help, I'm in a crowd who appreciates numbers and dollar signs too. And I appreciate, yes, this is an $81.7 million investment. But because we're smart and because we went out there and got more money and found more funding partners, Fredericton's investment is less than 28%. 28%. So of that, yes. Of that $81.7 million investment, Frederictonians are paying $22.6 million. That's 28%. I don't know about you. I like buying things at 28% of the cost, especially when I'm going to get 100% of the opportunity. And that's what's going to happen with that Performing Arts Centre. And it still keeps us at an enviable 5.3% debt ratio. That's really impressive. How many of you have 5% debt? I don't know. Raise your hands. Like, it's pretty good. We could be, most cities, provinces, we can be up to 20%, and in this day and age, we have to do whatever the province says, so I'm being told. So I think that it's good that we're breaking that rule, and we're only at 5.3% debt ratio. So I am proud of that project. I am proud of how our city has brought that project to its residents and to our region, and we're all going to have a lot of fun once it's open. Yes, we are. But it did come. I want to also say, the space was built with everyone in mind, everyone, and we want everyone to be comfortable there. We want everyone to feel like it's your own living room. After a decade plus of public consultation and planning, site preparation begins this fall, and construction of the new Performing Arts Centre will begin in the spring of 2024. So another city priority is partnering to build a new regional aquatic centre to replace UNB's failing Sir Max Aiken pool. A benefit of local governance reform is the opportunity for communities to work together to advance regional recreation facilities. The Regional Service Commission will establish the funding model for a new pool, and once this is complete, the City of Fredericton is very much looking forward to delivering a great new aquatic space to our residents and region. So it's going to happen. For everyone who's wondering, and we can't wait to get going on it. Regional Service Commission is developing that funding model, and then we're going to be swimming, folks. So as I close, it's really important to me that I recognize the partnerships that are being formed in this region. We really are. I've been on council since 2012. I've never felt so friendly with regional partners, really with all of you in the community. I think council are working really hard to really create these bonds. I want to acknowledge the tremendous support that we have received from the federal and provincial governments of late related to funding projects in our city. We also have enjoyed excellent relationships with various provincial departments, with Downtown Fredericton, Inc., with Business Fredericton North, with, yes, where's Business Fredericton North? I see my downtown, yes, with Business Fredericton North, with the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, with Ignite, with Fredericton International Airport, with St. Mary's First Nation, as well as, and I know there are more of you out there, with the University of New Brunswick. I now see Dr. Paul Muser, hello. Wonderful burgeoning relationship with the University of New Brunswick, and it's just going to continue to grow. We have these wonderful relationships, and it's what makes us so great as a city. And we also have wonderful relationships with much valued nonprofit organizations and community groups. They do the bulk of the work in our city that makes us look good, and I'm so appreciative for those relationships. So, on that note, because we are smart, we know that as a growing city, we must work together to create great spaces for our residents to enjoy, great spaces that will attract visitors, and great spaces that will entice people to come and to settle and to stay. I want to thank you for being here with me this evening. It's been a real treat for me. I always enjoy an opportunity to speak with you folks who care so much about our beloved Fredericton. Merci, Willie Wynn.
Well, that's a hard act to follow. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jill Stairs. I am the president of the board of directors of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. I would like to thank everyone for being here tonight. I would like to thank Krista for emceeing and doing such an excellent job. I'd like to thank the chamber staff that helped to organize this entire event. And of course, a special thank you to Mayor Rogers for delivering the 2023 State of the City Address. Very exciting information. I'm an accountant. I loved the numbers and the data and the stats. So we have a bright future ahead of us. Doesn't mean we don't have challenges, but we're working together to face those challenges, and that is, Your Worship, the most important thing. Please know that you will continue to have an active and engaged partnership with the Fredericton Chamber. Our organizational vision is stronger community through business prosperity. And we live that vision every day, and it's only the relationships that we can build with partners that will make that happen. As a token of our appreciation for your speech tonight, we're making a donation in your name to Pride, Fredericton Pride. Yep. We are. So those of you who don't know, Fredericton Pride is a not-for-profit organization that is run entirely by volunteers and relies exclusively on donations, grants, and sponsorships. Fredericton Pride strives to promote inclusion and intersectionality. In celebrating and advocating for the entire Pride community, individuals and is committed to cultivating a culture of growth and transparency in line with our core values: equity, diversity, inclusion, and intersectionality. So as our last hurrah tonight, I once again would like to thank all of our sponsors. We could not do this without you. Our platinum sponsor, Hotspot Parking. We all met Ryan earlier. Our gold sponsors, Encore and McGinnis Cooper. Our silver sponsors, the Fredericton International Airport, Gauguin Architecture, and Ignite Fredericton. Our broadcast sponsor for the evening, Rogers. Our bronze sponsors, Advocate Printing, CPA New Brunswick, that's close to my heart. Kiers Marketing Group, Liberty Utilities, Rob Blanchard Photography. Stop taking my picture, Rob. City of Fredericton Past Mayor's Table, the Real Estate Board of Fredericton Area Incorporated. And once again, thank you to each of you for joining us tonight, and have a good night. Thank you.